Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 18th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday to ya. Looks like we made it to the weekend. I'm happy. I'm hype. Hopefully, you are too. Hopefully, those Friday energy vibes carry to you, whether you're listening to this on a Friday or on any day of the week. Let's see. Let's do a rundown on my day. We got up, we slept pretty well, so we love that. At the start of the day, my back was feeling pretty good. I was generally like in good spirits, good disposition. So we love that. We get to work. Work was not busy, so I was like, okay, W. I decided to treat myself to a little snack. This week's been a little rough, a little mentally taxing, a little physically taxing. So I was like, I want a little treat, and I got a pack of M&Ms, and also I got a Monster, which may low key like an extra Monster. So I had my normal energy drink, which is a NOS, and then at the end of the day, I had a Monster. Just to perk me up for the gym. You know what I mean? I don't know. That might become a little tradition, or at least for a little while. Who knows? But yeah, overall, work went well. No complaints. We, move into the gym time. And this is where it gets a little bittersweet. Overall, the gym session went well. I hit a new PR for my dumbbells for the free weights. I've officially lifted every like heavyweight at least, so I've hit the max at this gym, which is 75. I know, maybe to the average big lifter, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's lightweight. But for me, that's major. So I was really happy to do that for the first time. I didn't have any like big failures, which is usually something that can happen on a Friday. So I felt like I had good control throughout the whole day. So that felt good. That felt great. What wound up being what wound up being the bitter part is definitely my back started hurting a lot at like the very end. I noticed, I couldn't walk it off in the cardio. And I was like, dang it, that sucks. So it's just a standing thing that I have to deal with when I think about it throughout my whole time doing this gym stuff. It's definitely just been a nagging thing, and I think the only thing I can really do is to really just truly rest. I think it's just really a question for me right now of when I want to kind of have that plan, just to kind of maybe take a day, maybe even two. But we'll see. We'll map it out. But overall, I'm feeling okay. It's not like the most unbearable pain of my life, but I do know that I got to be careful. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to overextend. So even with like my heavy lifting today, I didn't do like as many reps as I think I could have done. I kind of just wanted to like kind of hold back. So I'm hoping to not do too much damage. Hopefully, I even wind up feeling a little better. That'd be great. Knock on wood. Who knows? A little muscle miracle there. But overall, I'm hyped. Like I'm in an overall good mood. I'm getting this question a little bit. I got this question today at work, and I've talked about this a bit before of like, how do you feel? You've lost like all this weight. You look really good. Like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I always have this baseline surface answer of like, oh yeah, good, because like I just don't want to get into the weeds or come off crazy or weird or make a big long conversation out of small talk. But truly, it's not that simple to say. Like, I do feel good, I do, but there's also some drawbacks, and it's personal for me, where it's just like I realize that like my relationship with food has changed, my relationship with like fitness has changed in so many good ways, but also because of my like obsessive nature, it's definitely a bit of a hurdle sometimes to really let it go, to really stop and like say you need to be resting, you need to be not doing as much. But then I keep seeing all my negatives and I go, oh, I need to fix this. I need to work on this. I need to be constantly working on this every day. And every day I don't do that from here on is a just a complete negative. Like, it's hard for me to not think like that every day. So in that way, it's a bad change, right? Like that's not a good thing to like kind of have rolling around in your head every day, all the time. I don't want to say all the time, but it is something that just plays in my head a lot, and I have to really talk that down sometimes or just ignore it, and also really count the wins. Count the physique changes that I have that are really good, and really like hang my hat on those things and keep it moving. And also know that this isn't a thing I can just force of will. Because I think if I really just break it down and get to the heart of it, that's my biggest issue is patience. I'm so impatient. And I think when I got into this, when I really stepped into the gym and I said, I'm going to get in this and I'm not going to quit, I thought that with the level of work ethic that I was going to put into it, with all the tenacity I was going to throw at the wall here, that it was going to happen. And like about a year's time, I would look the way that I wanted to look. And like, then we could like kind of go from there. And then I realized maybe about at month 6 that that's not how this is going to go. Like this is a commitment. This is a discipline that you've been working towards. And it's good that you've gotten this far, but it's not just for X amount of time, man. And you're going to even potentially get to that physique you think you're going to get to, and you're not going to like it. There's still going to be other things you're going to critique and want to change. And I just realizing that it just really doesn't end. It just doesn't. And truly when it quote unquote ends is when you become comfortable, when you become at peace with who you are and what you're doing, and you're actually just doing it because you're happy and you enjoy it, and you just like, you love the method, the catharsis, I guess is really like, I love saying that word, whether I use it right or wrong, whatever. And I do think there's definitely weeks, there's definitely moments where I get there and I'm there and it feels good. But there's also some weeks where I'm just a neurotic mess, and it's all I can think about is just like, I got to get rid of these man boobs. I got to get rid of the stomach. And it's just a fucking mind wreck. So yeah, that's how I feel nowadays. In a nutshell, I know I'm going long already in just the personal news stuff. But yeah, pray for my back, or, whatever, vibes for my back, give me some good vibrations, or a heating pad, cooling pad, please. No, but let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. Oh, man. I have a laundry day tomorrow, so that's fun. Get ready for that. Mm. All right. From Al Jazeera. Pakistan rain's death toll rises to at least 180 after 65 die in one day. Heavy monsoon rains across Pakistan's Punjab province have killed 65 people and injured nearly 300 in the past 24 hours, provincial officials said, bringing the nationwide death toll from the rains to at least 180 since late June. The downpour on Thursday caused flooding and building collapses, with most of the deaths caused by the roofs of weaker homes failing. Lahore, the eastern provincial capital, reported 15 deaths. Faisalabad, I hope I got that right, 9. And the farming towns of Okara, Sihiwal, we're going to say Sihiwal, and Patan, several more. Rescue teams used boats to evacuate families from villages along riversides further south in the morning, but the water had begun to recede by the afternoon. And there's some more quotables, and then I have a little bit of the highlighted portion. Since late June, the monsoon rains have killed 103 people and injured 393 in Punjab alone, according to the Provincial Disaster Management Authority, or PDMA. More than 120 homes were damaged and 6 livestock animals were killed. Now we've covered monsoons in this area before. It definitely is monsoon season, so you got to expect high rate of rains, and comes through and does a lot of damage. And we usually do talk about this as well. As it goes without saying that every year throughout time, with climate change being what it is, it seemingly gets worse and worse. So you kind of just have to sadly expect events like this, which is, really sucks that, there's not much that we are doing to really, stop or combat, revert that. So, that being said, obviously condolences to all the people having to go through this, all the lives lost. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, let's go ahead and move to our next story. Got a prisoner exchange, if you will, from the Associated Press. Venezuela releases 10 jailed Americans in deal that frees migrants deported to El Salvador by U.S. Venezuela released 10 jailed Americans on Friday in exchange for getting home scores of migrants deported by the United States to El Salvador months ago under the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Officials said. The complex three-country arrangement, represents a diplomatic achievement for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, helps President Donald Trump in his goal of bringing home Americans jailed abroad, and lands Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele, a swap that he proposed months ago. Apparently, Bukele had wanted to set up this, but he was talking shit to Maduro, so they have a bit of a row, I guess, in these letters, if I'm not mistaken. But that being said, both sides, in terms of America and Venezuela, had things that they wanted in terms of people, so this deal was facilitated. So overall, it's good that, Americans got to come home. It's good for the migrants who were in CCOT, a very brutal detention center. They were able to get home to Venezuela. So there's that. There was definitely some brutal stories. I think there was one guy who said he was beaten so badly that he lost a fucking kidney, coming out of CCOT. So that was pretty harrowing. And I'm sure there's more stories like that are going on in that facility, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, they go through some details here. Obviously there is the contention, of, Maduro, quote, I don't want to say quote unquote. I mean, I think it's pretty well established that he, retained power by, unfair means, illegal means. But I think at this point it's kind of neither here nor there. I don't feel like spiraling into the details of it. It just kind of is what it is. He's in this position. He's not fucking leaving. Right, and at the end of the day, I do love it too, because it's between Maduro and Bukele, kind of going back and forth. Maduro calling Bukele a neo-fascist, and I'm like, I mean, that lands. Yeah, that hits. That makes fucking sense. I'm not really rooting for any of these motherfuckers in this story, nor am I rooting for Donald Trump, who gets to more or less tout a win here, because he gets to say, hey, I got more Americans home. He's getting those numbers up. He's keeping them numbers going. So, you can never naysay that, and that's for sure. It's always a dub for people to say, hey, this person got home, this Navy SEAL got to get back to their family. People are going to be happy to hear that. So, and then overall for Maduro, it's a win, because he gets to say, hey, I got people out of that fucking hellhole. I got them home. You know what I mean? They didn't want to be here, whatever. They're back home. They're safe. He at least gets to say that line. You know what I mean? And that's a boost for him. So there you go. That's a quick gist of what's going on there out of that prison release. Speaking of, I don't know, that's a terrible segue. I'm just going to delete that. From CBS News, 3 deputies killed in LA explosion at Sheriff's Department training facility. There's a lot more that we don't know. An explosion at a Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department training facility Friday left 3 deputies dead, officials said. The blast was reported just before 7:30 a.m. Pacific, and occurred at the Biscaluz Center Training Academy in East LA, which opened in 2017. During a news conference Friday, Sheriff Robert Luna declined to answer questions about how the events unfolded, citing the ongoing investigation. He noted that the scene was rendered safe for investigators to enter just minutes before he took the podium. There's a lot more we don't know than we do know, Luna said, adding that it was too early to say what the deputies were doing when the blast took place. But our intent is to look at this from the very beginning and figure out what it is exactly caused this tragic accident. Let's see here. I'm going to skip ahead because they do more or less, I think, explain what happens. But they do say, factoid, I guess, the incident represented the largest loss of life for the department since 1857. LA County was founded in 1850. Let's see here. I'm trying to see where they have it. According to the LASD spokesperson, the explosion. Oh no, I skipped it. My bad. Let me rewind. Senior law enforcement officials who were briefed on the investigation told CBS News that the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's bomb squad responded to a Santa Monica garage where at least one grenade was found Thursday. The grenade was transported to the sheriff's Biscayne's training facility, where today it appears they were working to render it safe, and it exploded. So it sounds like we do know what happened. I mean, maybe, there's a little bit of not correlation between the statement earlier and in the events, figuring it out, whatever. But according to the LASD spokesperson, the explosion occurred in the parking lot of the Special Enforcement Bureau at the facility. Later in the afternoon on Friday, law enforcement officials said it appeared work was being done to render the recovered grenade safe before it exploded. So looks like they were trying to handle this grenade like a kind of like a hurt locker situation, if you will. And 3 deputies or whatever were killed. They died. So yeah. Let's see here. Was there really anything else I wanted to pull? I guess we should say condolences. Obviously that goes without saying. Trying to think. We'll be back if I get any more details though. In terms of how this grenade get here, in this garage or whatever, what happened there. So in that regard, yes, there's definitely things that we do not know, like Luna said. So there we go. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story from the NPR. Which I know I've been kind of talking about this story on and off, but in terms of NPR and PBS losing funding, that rescission shit did go fully through. In my opinion, definitely really fucked up. Essentially Congress kowtowing to what Donald Trump wanted. They had already voted for this money, by the way. That's something I didn't really talk about because I didn't know as well. But they had already voted for this money. It was already supposed to go to the places it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be funded. And essentially, Donald Trump just wanted to be like, no, fuck that shit. Revert it. Take it back. And Congress said, fine, we'll take it fucking back. So yeah, that's wild. Essentially there's really no checks and balances if 2/3 are just kind of lockstep and there's just no fucking, there's no friction. Not really. But hey, I mean, that is, what America voted for. So that's fun. That's so sexy. Anyway, it sucks for the NPR, sucks for PBS, but they move, so if you do feel like donating to those places, now would be the best time. Like I was stating and talking about on that episode that I was yapping about it. It's not just for the gay LGBTQ, woke news bullshit. It does go to so much rural, local projects, that are funded through NPR, which is something I didn't really illustrate as well in that moment. And they're going to have to soak that up. You know what I mean? That's going to have to be downsized, and they're going to have to reach out and fundraise on their own. So, I mean, it is kind of what it is. The lady already sang. So at the end of the day, all you can really do, if you support those things, you're about those things, you just got to invest, with your dollar if you have it, so that's unfortunate, but that is the times that you're living in. So anyway, there's that, NPR, wanted to cite my source there. Settlement reached in investors' lawsuit against Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and other companies. A settlement was announced Thursday in a court in a class action investors lawsuit against Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and current and former company leaders over claims stemming from the privacy scandal involving the Cambridge Analytica political consulting firm. The suit had sought billions of dollars in reimbursement for fines and legal costs. No details on the settlement were shared when it was announced in Delaware's Court of Chancery at the start of what would have been the second day of trial, at which point nothing related to the settlement had been filed with the court. So AKA, they kind of quickly scrambled to say, we want to settle up. We want to settle this shit up, and we're going to try to get to that. The attorneys involved left court without commenting. A communications representative from Meta said the company had no comment. Investors had alleged in the lawsuit that Meta did not fully disclose the risks to Facebook users that their personal information would be misused by Cambridge Analytica, a firm that supported Donald Trump's successful Republican presidential campaign in 2016. Shareholders say Facebook officials repeatedly violated a 2012 consent order with the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, under which Facebook agreed to stop collecting and sharing personal data without users' consent. Facebook later sold user data to commercial partners in direct violation of the consent order and removed disclosures from privacy settings that were required under the consent order, the lawsuit alleged. So we're going to yada a bit here. We're skipping over some numbers. Facebook had to pay out a lot of fucking money. Essentially, like, shareholders and shit were like, we shouldn't have to be on the fucking hook for that. That was Zuckerberg's fault. He led us like astray. He fucked this up. He should have to foot the bill here. Not just him, but the other people, other top execs who were at the top at the time, who were running the show, they should have to pay. So let me kind of get to the highlight here. Shareholders wanted Zuckerberg and others to reimburse Meta an estimated $8 billion or more for the FTC fine and other legal costs. Zuckerberg and former Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg have been expected to testify. Other current and former board members, including billionaires Mark Andreessen, big piece of shit. We haven't really talked about him, but none of which I've learned about him I like. Peter Thiel, obviously boo, fucking weirdo, fuck Palantir, were also included as defendants. None of these motherfuckers want to talk. None of these motherfuckers want to get on stage, on trial, on the stand, and fucking say anything. They don't want to be in that situation at all. So that's more or less why, I think at least my speculations had on here saying this. That's why we had the settlement so quick, fast. Like, hey, let's just be done with this. We don't want to get into this. I think also a Netflix executive or something was also involved in this, or at least, he was then, or something to that effect. A lot of hands in this, and they're like, no, we don't want to be a part of it. Oh, but fun fucking fact that I learned when I was driving into work listening to the BBC. Apparently, all of these motherfuckers, these rich fucking people, they have insurance for just these kind of events. So essentially, really, they're not really going to have to pay anything. Their insurance premiums for this kind of stuff is just going to go up, and that's going to get paid out to the party. So these billions of dollars that, however much got settled up for, it's going to get paid out, and, really no harm, no foul for any of the people involved. So I love that for them. Love that. The rich are just gonna kind of keep getting richer. But hey, at least that, the people in, I guess, the middle, lower end of this shit, in the whole metaverse racket, they're getting, less fucked by the shitty situation that Facebook, chose to make there. We talked about that, I vaguely remember, in some random, story. But, bit of a longer explanation of what the Cambridge Analytica shit was. But yeah, we have one more thing that I wanted to cover. And this was just a viral moment that is so viral that it makes, headlines. And I love that. That is truly my bread and butter. If I could cover just stories like that. But I think it does kind of feel like junk food at the end of the day. But I love it. It's good. This is a yummy one. So, you've probably seen this moment, today. It's definitely been, cycling a bunch of social media news feeds. But yeah. Let's go ahead and, spark up and talk about a Coldplay. I'm getting old. I was watching a live stream, and one of these younger streamers said, I'm going to go spark up, and then I'm going to get on, so I can go on and play. And everyone else in the stream is older. They're closer to 30. They're closer to my age. You're like, what? Like, you're going to go, do some substances or something, right? Is that what you're going to do? And he goes, no, I'm going to go start my stream. Like, that's what the kids these days, I guess, say. Is they're sparking up when they're going online. They're logging on, doing their thing. I don't know. That's crazy time. Crazy world. Okay. From The Independent. Astronomer launches formal investigation after married CEO Andy Byron and HR boss caught on Coldplay kiss cam. Dude, the side piece, you and the side piece getting blown up on that kiss cam. Software company Astronomer has launched a formal investigation after its married CEO and head of HR were caught being intimate at a Coldplay concert, engulfing the internet in rumors of an alleged affair between the boss and his underling. Astronomer is committed to the values and culture that have guided us since our founding. Our leaders are expected to set the standard in both conduct and accountability, the company said in a statement on LinkedIn. The board of directors has initiated a formal investigation into this matter and will have additional details to share very shortly. Social media went into a meltdown after footage circulated showing two people later identified as Andy Byron and his company's chief people officer, Kristen Shabbat, awkwardly jumping out of each other's arms as they flashed up on a kiss cam during the band's show in Boston Wednesday night. Byron, who had his arms wrapped around Cabot's waist from behind, quickly let her go as his HR chief covered her face with her hands. He then crouched down, trying to hide from the camera. This is never the reaction that you should do when you're on the kiss cam. It's immediately going to go, ooh, that's awkward. Which the singer, Chris Martin, mentions, oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. Apparently a good observation from Chris Martin, but he quipped as the pair ran away from where they were standing. So yeah, obviously this is not a good situation, not a good look for the two people. Obviously, from what I've gathered, both are in relationships, both married, if I'm not mistaken, and you're cuddled up and you're on camera. And you're definitely looking and acting guilty on camera, so that's not good. It's not a good vibe. No one liked that. It definitely seemed like a lot of people were just like, yeah, that's what you get. Like it was very much like hands clasped, fly hands. People just kind of, it's like the Schadenfreude maybe or whatever. People just like seeing. Oh, and then also, I did love the meme comparison. There was like the killer whales. There was the ocean Titanic, and oh gosh, there was another one, and then there was Chris Martin. Like, so essentially, just like motherfuckers getting like CEOs getting set up to fail or getting sacrificed. Oh, Luigi Mangione. Yeah. So I was like, damn, that was pretty cold. I like that one. That was a good meme. Definitely shared that one. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying just desserts. Definitely awkward situation for, obviously the spouses at home, the significant others at home. It's like, oh, goddamn. Let's see here. Oh, I do like the awkward response from the co-founder. And also it's worth noting that Byron has not said anything as of, my knowledge as of this recording, nor has Shabbat. I keep wanting to say Shabbat. I know there's not an H. I think it's Cabot, whatever. Fine, Cabot. Astronomer co-founder Ry Walker, who was CEO himself from 2015 to 2019 and worked with him briefly, spoke out on X. I found Andy to be professional. I've only ever been on a call with him once. You never, like, it's like, oh, yeah, he's a good guy. Only talked to him one time. Already putting distance between this dude. Everyone on the team has praised his leadership to me. Excuse me. So I think this is an unfortunate development that comes as a big surprise. We're so shocked. This is so crazy. I did see a picture of them, like a work photo. So like it was like I don't know. It's like I think several other people in the photo as well. They weren't like right next to each other, but it's like, oh, that's awkward. That's awkward. Let's see here. There's some more details, but overall, people are definitely cracking jokes on the internet. People talking about like, it's more cringe that they were just at a fucking Coldplay concert, which I fucking understand. Also, the real shit though, I definitely had a Coldplay phase. I definitely will bump some Coldplay by myself on a playlist. Yes, I've done that before. I will do it again. That's just real shit. That's the cringe part of me. That being said, I despise Chris Martin. So I want to fantasize, my dear listeners. I want to talk about what I want as like the chapter 2 here. If I could write the news, this is what I would want so bad. I would want either Brian or Cabot to like petty sue Coldplay or Chris Martin specifically. I would make my fucking day, dude. Because that's just one. That's just good fucking news. That's just tasty shit. I'm making fly hands just thinking about that, licking my lips. Also, 2, can I explain why I don't like fucking Chris Martin? He's a fucking prick. Like, he's just annoying. He's kind of an ego fucking maniac. On top of the music not being that great. And you can say that's debatable, whatever. Like I said, I'm a Coldplay fan, technically. Like, I really can't fight the numbers there. I listen to that shit. But when I read, I remember I used to really be into magazines, right? I used to kind of semi-collect them, like read them all as much as I could. I really, loved reading articles and like, it's like, oh, this is a cool artist. This is a cool thing. I just like want to read about it, look at it. Obviously Coldplay, this is like that Viva La Vida shit or whatever the fuck they were doing. I don't remember what it was called. I used to rule the world. That shit, that album. They were on Rolling Stone cover, and I remember there was a quote. Chris Martin, this motherfucker said, "I think our music can cure world hunger." I was so mad. Like, what a pretentious, shitty, fucking dumb thing to say. You're making like the Princess of China song with Rihanna, like that's gonna cure world hunger. Like, come on, man. I know I'm jumping other albums, but like, come on, man. Like, Yellow did not do anything for the world. It's just a song that you get to like kind of feel somber and melancholic too. And I would argue that I could do that better with Death Cab for Cutie. So I don't need you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. It was wild. So not the biggest Chris Martin fan, but it is what it is. This was a funny fucking moment, and I couldn't help but yap about it. I wanted to chirp about it a little bit, share my 2 cents, whatever. So yeah, they're getting Tomato Town. It's not looking good. Also, fun fact about Astronomer, they're not doing anything in space. They're doing like data collection. They're doing AI. So like none of this is cool. None of this is interesting. It all fucking sucks, and I hate it. The end. Drop mic. No, that'll be it. That's the end of the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's free action that helps out. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Whatever platform you like to listen on. Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. It's always helpful. It's always fun. At least fun for me when I get new listeners. Yes. No, but if you don't do any of those things, that's super fucking cool. I just appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.